Alright gamers, today it's time to check into the Grand Austria Hotel. Let's check it out. Welcome to check-in. First off, what you're going to do is grab you a player board here. As you see, when the player board's at night, each one of these player boards are exactly the same. All the rooms are exactly the same. If you flip it over to what I call the day side here, the rooms are going to be booked a little different, like the different colored rooms. This one has three reds on the bottom. This one has two reds and a blue, and so on and so forth. This one has a yellow in there. So they're all shaped a little differently. So depending on which side of the board you want to play on, you can just decide that before you start the game. And this one we'll just start off on the base side right here. Now a little bit about this board is what you're going to be looking for is booking all of these rooms, and different colored guests will go in different colored rooms. You have tons of guests that you'll be serving here. If they're red guests, they'll go in the red rooms. Blue will go in blue. Green they're visitors, tourists, they go in any of them. Yellow, there you go, they go in yellow rooms. And you'll be booking these guests in their particular room of their color. Like I said, again, green is wild. Here is where you'll have a little money tracker. You'll use one of these little markers and you'll set it at 10. Everyone starts at 10. One of the other things you can do at the start of the game is you get to book 3 rooms automatically. If you book any rooms on the first floor, they are free. Any on the second cost you $1. Third cost you $2. And fourth level cost you $3 to do. And as you see, the prices are written right here on the side there. Also, you'll be getting victory points every time you score some bonus ones if you get victory points if you book them in those rooms. Another thing you'll be looking at this board is, as you see, these are kind of sectioned off into color. You see there's a match of 2. A match of 2 here, a match of 3 yellows here, 1 blue by itself, 4 reds together. What this signifies in the game is if you look here up at the top, it'll tell you what you get when you fill that section. So if I fill this blue section all by itself, 1 blue gives me that many victory points. And this is the victory point counter here, and you'll go around the board, and this is the little marker. And as you keep going around, if you pass it the first time, you'll get a little chit that says 75. If you pass it a second time, you'll get a chit that says 150. If you pass it a third time, you're counting the rules wrong, because there's no way, I don't think you can get that many points in this game. Anyway, every time you fill up a different section. So if I filled up a section of 2 blue, well then I'd look at the 2 and I would get 5 victory points. Now for red it's different. For red you're getting money. So for instance, if I booked 4 red, all 4 of these red, not 1, 2, 3, and if there's 4 here, has to be in a section. If I fill out that entire section of 4, well, I'm going to get money equal to that amount. So 4 rooms would be $10. That'd be huge. And as you see on the yellows, on this board, I just have 2 sets of 3. A 3 would gain me points with the Emperor, which I'll get to in a minute. The other thing here is your kitchen. In your kitchen, you're going to start with these 4 cubes. They represent coffee, cake, strudel, and wine. And you'll be serving these to your guests. In fact, you'll have to serve your guests first before you can book them into a room. And if you see here, the table shows you how many guests you can have. You have 1, 2, 3 guests at one time that are waiting here, eating in your kitchen before you can book them. Also, to start off, the players will get 6 helper cards. Now, you have to buy them to unlock them, but they can do different things for you in the game. Like for this one, he's a one-time use. When you activate him or buy him, you can use him to get 4 wine. That person gives you 4 strudel. This person lets you open up, look, they got an infinity there, so that means they're permanent. They let you open up red rooms for free at no cost, no matter what level they're on. This one, every time you get a horizontal roll, at the end of the game, they give you 5 extra victory points. So that's kind of how they work. That means end of the game. One means infinity. One means one-time use. And it will let you know in the game how you can use them. There is a beautiful instruction manual that tells you all the symbols. So if you ever get confused on the symbols, you can just look them up and they will tell you what each one of them, as I said, the names of each one are here, and they'll tell you what each one of them do in the rule book. Now for setup, a few other things that we're going to be doing here. First off, we got to put up some political cards. There's a small little deck of political cards, A, B, and C. So you'll randomly select some, put them up here. And throughout the game, when you achieve any of these goals, what you're going to do is you're going to put one of your markers and say, I was the first to achieve it, and get that. So you're going to get 15. Second place we get 10. Third place we get 5. So to kind of give you an idea of the 3 I just picked, this one The first one to gain 10 favor points from the Emperor, and this is the Emperor's track here, and I'll explain more about that in a minute. First one to get to 10 would get this. First one who gets 2 horizontal rows on their hotel board would get these bonus points. And in this case, someone who booked 3 red, 3 yellow, and 3 blue, if they had them all booked, the doors closed and everything, then they would also get to claim these points. And you can claim them on your turn. Now the next thing you'll do is put up some Emperor tokens. This is good and bad things that you'll do if you're in the Emperor's favor or not. You just randomly select a few, which I did here. And so throughout the game, if you see the Emperor's marker here, and this is the round counter here, the Emperor comes in on 3, 5, and 7. And it will tell you. So at the end of round 3, that's when the Emperor strikes. This is the Emperor's favor chart. And there's different ways in the game, different cards, different actions that can get you when you favor with the Emperor. So you're moving up this chart. Now how it works, you can also get, if you see here at the bottom, you can also get some little victory points here and keep moving around that track. But when it gets to the end of, let's say, round 3, you would see who's up, and then you would subtract by 3. So let's say purple was here. He goes 1, 2. He can't go any further. Uh-oh, he's going to be out of favor with the Emperor. Me, I go 1, 2, 3. And yes, I'm pretty low, but I'm still in the Emperor's favor. So in this case, that would mean at round 3, which is where this token was, I would get $3. But purple would lose $3 and 5 victory points. Oh, not good. So if you see here, something good happens to you each round, you're in favor with the Emperor. Of course, something bad could happen as well if you are not. And it goes down, you can go down 3 on this track, 5 on the 5th round, and you'll go down 7 on the 7th round. So you constantly got to be pushing up the ranks to get favor for the Emperor, because if you're not in favor, you will suffer the consequences. Next thing you pass out is these tokens. These are the turn tokens. They're depicted by the amount of players you would get. So in this, we're playing a 2-player game, so I'd pick up the two-player tokens. It would tell me who's going first and fourth in this turn, and the second player would go second and third. After the round's over, we would switch, and second player would be going first and last on a turn, and I'd get back-to-back moves. You would do this to 3 to 4 players as well, and just get the coinciding tokens that go with these. Now another thing we need to do prior to starting the game is put out some guests. As you see, we have empty tables here. We have these guest cards, and we're going to put one out on every row here. And as you see, on the first 2 selections, they will be free. This one will be $1, $2, and $3. At the beginning of your turn, every time, if you have an open table, you will take a guest. And so let's say I took this red guest and put him here at the table. I would shift every one over one and then put the newest arrival right here. So the newest arrival will always cost the most. Now why would you pay for one? Well, maybe there's one you really want to get because you get bonus points for it, or you have the exact room color opened up for that person. For whatever reason, you may not want to take the risk and wait till they get free when it comes around your turn. You may want to take them and pay money now, but that's up to you. But before I get too much into guests, let me go ahead and start the game. What you would do is you have these beautiful little wooden die here that feels so right in your hands, and you're going to just roll them all together like so. And then you're going to take them apart and you're going to divide them by the pip number on there. So let's say this is what I rolled. Now, beginning with the first player who goes first on this token, let's say it was me, I would get to pick one of these actions. What do each of these actions represent? On the ones, I can get strudel or cake. Now, I may never get more cake than strudel. So for instance, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 die on here. So if I pick the 1 die, I will place it on my little player board to represent this is the action I'm taking. And I get as many dice that are in here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I get that much strudel or cake. But I may not get more cake than strudel. So 5, I could get at the most 3 strudel and only 2 cake. Now if it was 4 and 4, I could do equal, because that's not getting more cake than strudel. So I could do 2 and 2 if it was just 4 there. But that's kind of how that works. Now the same thing with wine and coffee. Here there's only 1. So if I was to pick this die, I would only get wine. I could not pick coffee because I cannot get more coffee than I could get wine. However, some additional actions, and they give you these little help cards here, I could do is I could pay $1 on my dollar track here, and I could actually give a ghost die, and it's once per turn. So for instance, if I want to get wine and coffee, I pay $1. So now it's like there's 2 die here, and I would get 1 of each in that case, if I wanted to. Not necessary, but it can be done. Now on the 3s, it allows you to prep any room to welcome a guest at. Right now there's only one die on here, so if you pick this, you can only open up one room. However, the more die give you the more room you can open up here, and more rooms you can prep, the better, because then you can get some guests booked inside of them. In fact, the tokens start off and they come to you as the room is prepped. And look at that person. Once you get a guest in there, no vacancy. It is shut. We've got a guest in there and we've got to open up or prep some more rooms. So that's what 3 does. 4 gives you one of two things. You can get extra money. So if I grabbed a 4, I would get, in this case, $3. Or I could get some Emperor Favors tokens. I could go up 3 if I got one of these. So let's reset the track here. And I got this. Well, I'd put it on my little player board and I would go up 1, 2, 3. Or if I wanted to, I could just do this down, grab this one, and get $3 more added to my dollar track. On the 5s are what lets you hire new people. So looking at my people here, I can see how much each one of them costs. I want to buy one of them, let's say. Well, I'm going to get a $3 discount. Depending on how many 5s, that's how many dollar discounts I get. So if there were 4 here, I would have gotten a $4 discount. But if I picked it, I would get a $3 discount. So let me see. I could get this one for free, that one for free. You can only hire 1 at a time. This one would only cost me 2. That'd be a nice one. And if I had a 4, that would only cost me 1. So there you go. If you want to hire staff, choose the 5 die. And once you hire the staff, you can flip them over. When you use them, if they're a one-time use like this guy is, I'd flip them over and get rid of them. There are other cards and other guests to allow you to put more helpers in your hand. In fact, this is one. As you see, if I actually book him, I get to do the special stuff that says here, I go up 2 Emperor favor points, and I get to grab someone else to help me out in my hotel. As you see, each of them, when you book them, they give you some sort of special reward. Now finally, there's the 6-sided die. This is the wild card die. It costs you $1, but for $1 you can add this to any other die. So if I wanted to add it here, I get a wine and a coffee. And you're thinking, well, Matt, wait a minute. You just said that I could pay $1 and get a ghost die. What's the point in paying $1 and get a 6? Well, if I paid $1 and put it here, and then I paid another $1 and put a ghost die, that would be 3 2s. I could get 2 wines and 1 coffee. So that's the advantage of rolling 6s. They can be wild cards. Now, if ever you want to re-roll all the die, what you would have to do, you have to throw one in the trash, and you could re-roll them all if you feel the need to do so. Now let's go through a little turn here. Let's say that I picked this character, I picked my guest, sit him at the table, move all these cards down, bring out a new guest here, and then I said, okay, well, here's what I have in my kitchen right now. I do have a cake and a strudel, but I don't have another cake though. I need another cake. So what I would do, well, this one's really good. So I get the 1, put it on my little player board that I'm picking the 1, and that gives 1, 2, 3, or 5, 5. So I would get 3 strudel and 1 cake. So once you get your reward from that, you can go ahead and serve your guests right then and there. So I would give them 2 cake and a strudel. That would make them happy. Any extra I would have left over would go into my kitchen. For an additional $1, you can bring up to 3 dishes and drinks from your kitchen to your guest. Let's say I had another guest right here, and I had already used my movement and brought these out here, but I still need to feed this guest. Well, I would pay an extra $1 on my dollar track, and I could move up to 3 dishes, so I would move 2 strudel and a cake. So now next time all he needs is another cake. And that's just another additional action you can do on your turn. Other additional actions, you can of course claim any one of these political cards if you think you've achieved it. You can activate any of your helper cards or staff, and then you can also move one guest with a completed order to a free room. So if I have an open room, let's say that of course you'd have to open up your first room right there in the corner, and of course I would get 2 more that I could open up on any level. And if I wanted to, I could pay the extra $1, $2, $3 to open them up. But let's say I had this room open. Green, as you know, is wild. It can go in any color. So I'm going to book it into this blue room. What would I do? Well, I'd take all the cake and strudel, discard it back to the board, and then I would move him into this room. I would close this out, and then I would do any of the actions here. He's worth 5 victory points, so I would go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He gets 2 Emperor's Favor points, so I go 1, 2 there. And I would draw an extra staff card and put it in my hand, someone else I could hire later on down the road. Once they're done, they're out. And of course, all these characters need to shift back over. But anyway, once they're done, they're out. and the next player would go. And the next player would pick their round. Now, once you have, in this case for a 2-player game, if you have all 4 turns go through, you'll pick up any remaining die and re-roll them again. Now, the game goes until you get to 7 rounds. At the end of 7 rounds, whoever has the most victory points is the master at the Grand Austria Hotel. Final thoughts, what do I think about the game? This is a nice game. The only con I have about it is the little marker board for the money. Sometimes you get mixed up, you don't take money off, or what happened one time, someone brushed their board one time and it bumped it or it shook off. So I wish there was a better counter. That being said, that's the only bad thing about this game. This is a great game. You are working on so many different levels. You cannot get everything done. It feels like you're managing a hotel. You need to hire staff. You need to prep some rooms. You need to serve some guests. You need to keep in the emperor's favor because you don't want to fall out of favor and get something bad to happen to you. There's a lot of things you're juggling here, and it's very hard to juggle them all at the same time. You are always wishing you could get a third move. Even if there's not that many dice left, you can use whatever dice you can get. Money runs out quick, so you need to make sure you book the right rooms. Even booking rooms comes in handy. I booked the lower level rooms first because that gave me a set of 4 just so I could get $10 more. I wanted to book rooms on the top floor to, get more money, but I just or victory points, but I just couldn't do it because the match was right here. We played with the day boards where everyone's board was a little bit different. And I think that's the way you should play. You can play the base on the base side where everyone's the same. That's fine. But flipping around, a little bit more variety in the player boards is always good. The manual that lets you know what is what in the game, it lets you know every symbol, what it means, what it does. The very first game we had to look up a few of them to see what they did and what this meant. After that, we've rarely had to look at the little guide there. It has been super, super helpful. This little thing here that lets you see, look at the back here. It gives you all the little symbols on there. There's one that gives you an entire list of all the groups here, all the pictures and everything. This is so easy, these instructions are. And especially for a game that looks complicated like this one, it is super easy instructions to understand it, to teach it to anyone. Should you get the game? Yes. If it even looks anywhere remotely nice for you, you should get it. It does cost a little bit because it is a newer game, but to be honest, it's worth it. It's super fun. It's fun at 2 players. It's fun at 4 players. It's fun at 3 players. I think the first time we played it was with 3 players, but the more the merrier, and you're having a great time. Some people complain that there is a lot of analysis paralysis and it's not that you don't know what to do. Well, it is. You just can't decide. I sit there every time going, this would be a good move, but this would be a good move, and this would be a good move. I know what I need, I just can't do them all. I got to choose one, and making that choice takes a while. So yes, it does drag the game on a little bit, and you hate it because when you're trying to think, it matters, it impacts what the person before you chooses. Because if they choose this die, then I can't use that option. I can use this one. So your mind's playing, it's like playing chess with 7 different layers of people playing. There's so many what ifs in the game that when it gets to your turn, you can't help it but to sit there for a minute and go, oh my gosh. Every time we play this game, I'm sitting here like this with my hands on my head because I just do not know what choice to do. That being said, great game. I can't wait to do my top 100 for 2017 because I think this one's going to rise up high on the list. I really do love this game. All right, gamers, that is all the time I have for now. Until next time, boom, game on.